The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Defense Secretary Delphine Lorenzana welcomes the UK's decision to send its carrier strike group to the South China Sea. Lorenzana said this voyage will demonstrate freedom of navigation in the Indo-Pacific region. He added that this will promote closer bilateral relations between the two countries, especially in capacity-building efforts. British Ambassador Daniel Pruce emphasized the UK's support to the Philippines in dealing with the situation in the South China Sea. He said the UNCLOS decision on the dispute must take precedence. Now, the country's ambassador to Washington insists that the visiting forces agreement was already improved. This as President Duterte is expected to decide on the fate of the agreement soon. Ambassador Jose Manuel Romualdez said Manila and Washington had weeks of negotiations to ensure that the VFA will be beneficial to both countries. Recall that Duterte terminated the VFA last year after U.S. canceled Senator Bato de la Rosa's visa due to his involvement in the war on drugs. Eventually, the administration suspended the abrogation of the agreement in light of political and other developments in the region. To tell us his insights about these issues, we have Stratbase and Institute President and political analyst, Mr. Dindo Manhit, with us this afternoon. Sir Dindo, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Risha.
Sir, would like to get your insights. Do you agree with Mr. Lorenzana saying that UK sending its carrier strike group to the South China Sea will promote bilateral relations?
These are key and strong statements from Secretary Lorenzana, especially as the Philippines values, I believe, as a nation, the support of countries that believe on democratic and rule-based values in dealing with challenges of the world. And with this initiative coming from the United Kingdom, we have to see it as an appreciation by countries beyond the Asia Pacific that they see the importance of a rule-based system and taking into account the victory of the Philippines nearly 5 years ago, July 12, 2016, in an arbitral case against China with regards to Philippine territory and economic zones.
Mm-hmm. Sir, do you think, or how do you think, will this affect the Philippine-China relations? Do you think China will respond to this?
For me, what matters is not how China reacts to it, but for the Filipino people to realize that since 2016, we have seen countries very developed, very progressive, and that shares values of rules, of law-based nations are what is important. Mm-hmm. It's not about China, it's about the Philippines being seen as legitimate in their claim of the West Philippines.
Mm-hmm. Sir, Philippine Ambassador Mr. Romualdez said that the VFA has now been improved after negotiations. Do you have an idea, sir, on what will be the changes or what should we expect moving forward?
I really don't know the specifics because these are what's called bilateral or government to government. But as an observer, I would expect that they will strengthen the alliance. What does it mean? Given the reality of our weak capacity in our defense or external defense, maybe the U.S. can continue to provide training, capability building that is very important in our challenges, especially in the West Philippine Sea. Beyond the visiting forces agreement also, maybe it's also good to remind ourselves that a few years ago, I think 2014, the Philippines signed an enhanced defense cooperation agreement with the United States that whereby the United States promised, and I think they're still waiting for the Philippines to proceed with it, to strengthen the capacity of some of our Air Force bases and modernizing them so we can best protect our economic zones.
Mm-hmm. So in light of everything that is happening, does this mean that the President is taking a softer stance on the VFA because of the negotiations?
I am not sure if it's the President because these are statements coming from the Ambassador, from the Secretary of Defense. So maybe until I hear it from our President, and I hope he does, because the President Duterte should see value on the importance of allies of the Philippines. If there is a threat to the Filipino nation, the Filipino people, it's good to give importance to friends or allies who are willing to help us.
Sir, we'll take this opportunity to get your insights too on another topic, the 2022 elections. So far, we'd like to know your thoughts about the emerging names in the presidential race.
There are names being mentioned, daughter of President Duterte, Mayor Sara, and some leading figures. We have seen some surveys last December, and I think early April. So we will continue to track these names. You hear of young leaders like Mayor Isko Moreno, or possibly as young senators, Senator Isko, who continues to have a strong national following, or even VP Robredo.
Oh, sir, we'd like to thank you for the time that you spent with us. That's StatBase ADR Institute President and Political Analyst, Mr. Dean Dumanit.
Thank you.
Now, here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. The Energy Department is asking the Justice Department's help in studying filing charges of economic sabotage against airing power companies due to rotational blackouts experienced in Luzon. The DOE said they are in the process of collating information but have not yet identified generation companies to be subject to the probe. Senator Win Gatchalian slams the 25% tax hike on private schools, saying it is ill-timed and insensitive. Gatchalian said this counters the intention to create a law which seeks to reduce the income tax of proprietary education institutions to 1% in the next 3 years. He is now calling on the Senate to exercise its oversight powers to address the higher tax rate for private schools. And Pope Francis has appointed Filipino missionary priest Joseph Durero as the new bishop of the diocese or a diocese in Papua New Guinea. The appointment of Father Durero was announced in Rome on May 23. The new bishop was sent to Papua New Guinea for a mission after his ordination, where he held various assignments throughout the years. Now, for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.